Hello, I am Lola Kait. Welcome to my channel. For anyone who does not know me, I am a professional hair colorist, and in today's video I'm going to share with you how I like to lighten my eyebrows without using any bleach. So if you would like to see how I lighten these bad boys, please continue watching. So first I will show you the products that I use. So I like to use a professional hair tint. So that's a permanent hair color. Today I will be using a color from the brand Jeval. I like using Jeval on my face because it does have vegetable lipsums in the hair tint, which is good for sensitive skin. So today I will be using the shade 9.1, which is a very light ash blonde. Also, just a little disclaimer, I recommend that everyone do an allergy test prior to going through with what I'm doing, because this is hair tint and our eyebrow hair is very different to the hair on our head. So you may be sensitive, you may be allergic to hair color and not know it on your face. Eyebrow hair is very fine, hair on our head is very thick. So some might say, oh, it'll be fine. It's a completely different process to lightening hair on your head. With the permanent hair color, I will be mixing it today with a hydrogen peroxide, which is also by the same brand Jeval, and it is 3%, also known as 10-volt. So with my eyebrow hair, I like to use the same brand rather than using different products. I just always find I get a better result. With peroxide, it can come in a liquid form. I'm using a cream form today to let you know they work the same. It's the percentage that's important. So when I say hydrogen peroxide, a lot of people get scared. It is a serious chemical to use on your face. I do not like to use anything higher than 10 volume. So peroxide comes in 10 volt up to 60 volt. It's actually illegal to use anything higher than 40 volt in Australia. I don't know about where you are in the world, but I would never use anything higher than 10 volume on my face. Your face is very sensitive and your eyebrow hair is very fine, so it's very delicate hair and you do not need to use anything higher than 10 volt. So if you have 20 volt lying around at home, do not use that, stick to 10. Just throwing that out there. I will also show you how to tone your eyebrows. For example, if you've lightened your eyebrows and they're too brassy looking or too orangey looking, or they're too light and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm stuck. I'll show you how to fix that. So I live in Australia from a store called Priceline, which I guess is similar to most drugstores in the US, same with the UK as well. You can usually grab yourself some lash and brow dye. This particular one I'm using, it's called 1000 Hour Enhanced Beauty in the shade dark brown. So in here contains a tube of eyebrow tint and also 10 volt hydrogen peroxide, which is the same thing I'm using to lighten my brows. So that's what I will be toning and tinting my eyebrows with afterwards. I don't always do this, but I thought I would just go through and show you how to tone down your brows if you ever get stuck and they're too light or they're too orange for you. So for anyone who has dark brows to very black naturally, you will most likely need to tone your eyebrows afterwards. With say medium brown hair, with lightening it with a tint, you'll probably get really great results. But a lot of the time, if you're naturally very dark, your hair will tend to throw a lot of red and a lot of orange. If that is you, then you will most likely need to tone your brows back down and make them look a little bit cooler toned. I'm going to show you how to do that today. So if you are going to try this at home, I recommend doing an allergy test, both with the permanent hair tint and the eyebrow tint as well if you're using it. So to do an allergy test, get a little bit of the product, mix it with the peroxide in small amounts and pop it just underneath behind your ear there. Do it 24 hours before you would like to proceed, just to see if it is stinging or burning or if you get a rash. If that is you, do not proceed as you are sensitive to the product. I recommend you go see a professional. So as you can see, I'm a natural brunette. I'm not a natural blonde. So I am quite dark. So now I'll just show you how to mix up the color. From the eyebrow tint, I'm just going to use the little plastic tray that comes with a pack. If you don't have a little tray like this, you can also mix it up on a piece of foil. So if you've got a bench, lay the foil flat down on the bench and you can mix it up on there. That way when you finish application, you can just throw the piece of foil away. So 24 hours after your allergy test, and you know that you're definitely not allergic to hair color, go through through with your permanent hair tint, shade 9.1, squeezing out about that amount of product onto your tray or piece of foil, adding in 10-volt peroxide. With the little stick that came with the eyebrow tint, I'm just using that to mix, but you can actually use a cotton tip or a toothpick to mix the two together. I would not recommend using a professional color brush. It is too big. It is more than likely going to absorb up all of the color, so that's why I use something very fine to mix the two together until they're combined into one paste. I would say the measurements would be about 1 part of the tint, 1 part peroxide. Do not make it too runny, as it can be very dangerous. You're going to lose control of the product. It could drip down as it's processing. Hair tint, in some cases, can cause blindness if you're very sensitive or allergic to color, which is why it's important to do the allergy test prior to trying this procedure. I have a steady hand, so I'm definitely comfortable without needing any safety equipment. So if you have sensitive eyes, or if you wear glasses, or if you've had laser eye surgery in the past, I would recommend keeping your eye closed and putting a cotton pad over your eye like this to protect your eye while you're applying the eyebrow tint. If you are generally someone who has a shaky hand or your butterfingers, now don't laugh, but you could always use goggles and pop those over your eyes to protect your eyes. That's if your eyes are super sensitive to fumes, or if you're paranoid that the color is going to drip down onto your eyes. If you've mixed the color correctly, it's not going to drip. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that today because I feel confident enough to use it without. Also, it's handy to have a spoolie. I am just going to comb my eyebrows in the opposite direction of my hair growth. And that is just so I can get right to the bottom of the root of my hair and not miss any areas of my eyebrows. Whereas if I was just to go through and apply the tint straight on like that, I'm going to miss the root of my brows. Okay, so it's best to do little sections at a time rather than a whole big blob and you losing control. So first I'm going to work from the front of the brow, then the mid, and then work my way through to the ends. Everyone's hair is different, but usually the front and the middle areas of people's brows are the thickest and darkest, so start from those areas. And also, if you have one eyebrow lighter than the other one, start with the thicker side and then do the other one after the thicker side, just so the thicker side has just like an extra minute left longer than the other side. So starting at the front, and I'm sort of moving the hair around slightly as well, rather than just plopping it over the top and missing the roots. So by moving it in the opposite direction, that way you're getting all of the hair. When you completely run out of product on your applicator, that's when you reach for more. Do not add more product if you don't need it. That's how you get drips, and that's when it gets a little bit dangerous. And sort of leave your eye half closed because there are fumes coming off the tint and coming off the peroxide as well. So just protect your eye by leaving it half closed. You don't want the fumes to get right into your eye. So now with a makeup pad, I'm just going to go through and clean up the edges. I'm just going to apply my other eyebrow off camera. I have the tint applied to both of my brows and I like to let it process for about 15 minutes. I generally do have sensitive skin. I'm not allergic to permanent hair tint, but it does tingle a little tiny bit. So if you're trying this and you're like, I can feel it tingling a little bit, for me, that's normal. I'm going to let it process for 15 minutes and then I will show you how I remove it. So that is a processing time now of 15 minutes. What I'm using now is a Q-tip. I have here a sheet of a paper towel. That way you can throw it straight out. Get your Q-tip, start from the bottom and you're rolling your Q-tip up in a motion like that, and then wiping it off onto the paper towel and repeating the same process. That way you're getting majority of the tint off. So now that I have wiped all of the tint off my brows, I'm going to go through with a wet paper towel. I'm going to go in and just wipe my brows. So it's just water on the towel. I am going to go through with some shampoo on my fingertip for each brow. Not too much, by the way. Rub that through my brows. They are wet from the paper towel. Getting my wet paper towel and just wiping that through. Now with some conditioner on my fingertip. Ew. So just going through and conditioning the brows. So conditioner just closes the cuticle back up of your eyebrow hairs. The shampoo opens your hair cuticle, washes and cleans your hair, then the conditioner goes in and closes it back up, like the same way it works on your head. Very important, do not skip this step. So if you're happy with the result of your eyebrows, I would leave all the steps here. I wouldn't continue on. What I'm going to show you now is how to tone your eyebrows back down. So I really love the color. I don't usually tone my eyebrows, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. If you naturally have black eyebrows, there is a chance that your eyebrows are throwing more of an orange or red undertone throughout the lightness, so more of a brassy tone. I'm just going to go through and show you how to correct that. But as I said before, if you're happy with the color of your brows, leave it. Do not follow through with this next step. So I showed you earlier on in the video the eyebrow tint. So this is the cream color here. Even though it's orangey in color, this is dark brown. So you mix a little bit of color. About that amount is more than enough. With that small amount, I'm just going to add a little bit of the liquid 10-bol hydrogen peroxide, also known as 3%. With this little tool here, I'm just going to mix those two together. So the cream in general should look a little bit lighter in color. Eyebrow tint takes really quickly to the hair, starting at the front and the mid brow. Same as what we did with lightening. And just tapping motions, starting at the front, moving the hair in the opposite direction. So same thing with before. If your eyes are really sensitive or if you're not confident with your application, please use a makeup pad over your eye while you're applying this. Okay, so that is the eyebrow tint applied. I'm just going to let them sit for about 2 minutes before I check them. I'm not going to leave them on for the full amount of 15 minutes because eyebrow tint takes really quickly and I do not want my eyebrows to go too dark. If you have very light hair and you want to tint your eyebrows down a lot darker, then leave them on for a lot longer than 2 minutes. Leave them on from 10 to 15 minutes. If you're using the tint to tone, definitely come back in about 2 minutes. So what I'm doing now is I'm just moving a little bit of the tint and I'm just seeing if that's dark enough for me. That looks like the perfect color. So same thing as I did before, get your Q-tip, wipe off the product, then go through with your wet towel. Okay, so after shampoo and conditioning as well, I'm just going through with a makeup wipe. This one in particular is for sensitive skin. It is fragrance free. So I'm just gonna wipe my brows over with that just to be really thorough, make sure there's absolutely zero residue. I'm just going to apply my brow makeup. I use shade Blonde in Kai Brow. I will pop a video somewhere up here if you're interested to see what products I use for my brows, but I'll show you in a sec. So this is the final result of my brows with makeup on. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to answer them for you. I'd love to help you with anything. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.